Welcome.
Welcome to the Everything Podcast, and in this episode we're heading back to Ramsey Street because in this episode I'll be summarising the Neighbours episodes released between the 7th and 10th of July 2025. I am recording this episode on the 15th of July 2025, but before my recap, here is the most recent Neighbours trailer.
Who's the 6-foot Adonis?
That is Colton. We hooked up in Queensland.
Oh!
Do you know how confronting it is knowing that two guys like you?
It's not rocket science. You can just date them both. I'm Team Rhett.
I am Team Colton.
That was the most recent Neighbours trailer, and I'm showing you that because right now here is my summary of the Neighbours episodes released between the 7th and 10th of July 2025. Rhett apologises to Aaron. Rhett mentions his daughter. Rhett wants an answer from Aaron right now. Aaron chooses Rhett. Aaron invites Rhett to stay with him for the night. Aaron and Rhett kiss. Carl asks Tay to promote an event for the tram. Tay agrees to do this. Cara and Remy are spending some alone time together. Remy mentions what Cara did to help Tay. Moira interrupts Cara and Remy. Remy gives Moira some medical advice. Remy confronts Carl about him informing Moira that she was going to be Carl's replacement. Remy reveals she won't be applying to take over from him at Irene Rising. Susan convinces Remy to keep seeming interested in the role at Irene. Remy and Susan discuss this. Remy asks Susan... No, I read that the wrong way around. Susan asks Remy to keep pretending. Aaron and Rhett learn that Nicolette has made them breakfast. Cara and Remy discuss Susan's actions just surrounding Carl leaving Irene. Where am I up to? Remy can see where Susan is coming from. Aaron informs Cara and Remy that he chose Rhett. Remy mentions Aaron's happiness. Aaron is planning on informing Colton of his decision today. Sadie and Tay discuss the transformation as well as Nicolette. Tay reveals his plan on making sure he is the 82,000th customer at the tram. Sadie refuses to join Tay. Tay convinces Sadie to join him. Tay demonstrates his victory dance. Carl apologises to Remy. Carl informs Remy that she will be getting a tour from Moira. This amuses Cara. Everyone convinces Carl to change the prize to a free pie. Aaron informs Colton that he has chosen to be in a relationship with Rhett. Aaron apologises to Colton. Tay and Sadie express their delight in counting customers. Carl reveals his issue with this. Carl disqualifies Tay and Sadie and asks them to leave. Sadie mentions Nicolette. Sadie asks Tay to cheer up. Sadie sees through Tay. Sadie reveals her support for Tay. Sadie reveals she purchased a pie for Tay. Sadie unveils her victory dance. Remy updates Susan about her Irene tour from Moira. Remy ends her pretending to be Carl's replacement at Irene. Aaron and Colton discuss Rhett. Colton compliments Rhett. Aaron compliments Colton. Aaron thanks Colton. Remy catches Colton kissing Aaron. Carl overhears Remy and Susan's conversation. Susan attempts to explain herself to Carl. Carl mentions Darcy. Gina and Vera are the tram's 82,000th customers. Wendy informs Andrew where the photos and snacks are. Andrew agrees to send Wendy photos of the family lunch. Aaron attempts to explain himself to Rhett. Rhett doesn't want to listen to Aaron at the moment. Holly mentions Sadie and Stephen. Gino mentions Carl. Susan declares Gino and Vera joint winners. Remy checks in with Susan. Remy convinces Susan to find Carl. Holly agrees to help Andrew. Susan finds Carl. Susan attempts to explain her actions to Carl. Carl reveals he is done with medicine. Susan believes this isn't the case. Andrew thanks Holly for her help. Holly reveals she and Max have a date tonight. Colton checks on Aaron. Colton apologises to Aaron. Aaron mentions his feelings when he first met Rhett. Colton mentions David. Remy updates Carl and Susan. Susan thanks Remy. Remy apologises to Carl. Remy gives Carl some advice. Remy mentions Moira. Carl seems to show Susan and Remy his resignation letter. Holly is waiting for Max. Max calls Holly, explaining why he won't be able to attend their date. Andrew messages Holly. Holly convinces Andrew to join her. Colton explains Aaron's actions to Rhett. Colton gives Rhett some advice. Colton gives Aaron and Rhett some alone time. Rhett compliments Colton. Aaron apologises to Rhett. Aaron mentions David. Rhett attempts to reassure Aaron. Aaron and Rhett kiss. Andrew and Holly discuss Carl and Susan. Holly mentions trauma. Andrew mentions Heath. Andrew gives Holly some advice. Holly sees through Andrew lying to her. Carl reveals he has sent his resignation letter to Susan. That's not right. It's Therese. Carl and Susan disagree. Susan mentions Erinsborough High and Darcy. Carl mentions one of his previous comments. Carl asks Susan to respect his decision to no longer be a doctor. Andrew mentions his biological family attending Sadie's 21st birthday party. Andrew and Holly thank each other. Holly mentions Izzy, Carl and Susan. Andrew mentions Susan and Max. Andrew gives Holly some advice about Max. Susan gives Remy a present to apologise for getting her involved in trying to convince Carl to not leave Irene. Susan updates Remy. Wendy joins Susan and Remy. Wendy mentions Andrew's biological family. Susan informs Wendy that Carl has decided to leave Irene. Susan blames Darcy and herself for this. Susan thanks Remy and Wendy for their support. Susan describes her and Carl's working relationship at Irene. Holly works out that Andrew has left. Andrew returns home. Wendy mentions Stephen. Holly messages Andrew. Holly and Carl reunite. Carl mentions Max and Saskia. Therese returns. Therese updates Carl and Holly. Krista, Leo and Abby return home. Leo carries Krista. Leo mentions Paul, Andrew and Tash. Leo and Krista kiss. Byron asks for Jane, Nicolette and Aaron's advice about a gift she bought for Sadie before they broke up. Max mentions Dex. Max gives Saskia some advice. Saskia helps Byron. Byron wants to have a conversation with Max about Saskia. Therese mentions Darcy. Susan accepts responsibility for all the questions about Remy starting at Irene. Therese gives Carl some suggestions on what to do next. Carl updates Therese and Susan. Therese mentions Mackenzie. Carl reveals he's already applied to something. Byron informs Saskia about updating Max about their recent interactions. Saskia attempts to explain herself. Max reveals he trusts Byron. Saskia promises to not cross Byron's boundaries again. Wendy and Holly discuss Sadie's 21st. Holly asks Andrew why he didn't answer any messages from Holly following him leaving the bar. Andrew attempts to explain himself. Andrew believes he and Holly were inappropriate last night. Holly attempts to reassure Andrew. Byron thanks Max for trusting him. Saskia overhears Max and Byron's conversation. Andrew reveals his plan on inviting his biological family to Sadie's 21st to Wendy. Andrew asks Wendy to join him for lunch. Wendy agrees to this. Holly and Max reunite. Max apologises to Holly. Holly mentions Saskia. Holly and Max discuss Saskia. Max and Holly kiss. Holly suggests multiple things she and Max could do together. Max reveals that Holly is enough for him. Jane compliments Wendy. Wendy finds Saskia in a classroom by herself. Therese reunites with Leo, Krista, Aaron, Byron and Nicolette. Therese mocks Nicolette. Nicolette exposes Aaron having a boyfriend. Aaron reveals this person is Rhett. Therese reveals that Colton is returning to Queensland. Leo mentions Bluey. Byron, Nicolette and Aaron join Leo in helping him with Abby. Therese knows that Krista is keeping something from Leo. Krista attempts to reassure Therese about telling Leo this eventually. Saskia mentions Max and Byron. Saskia apologises to Wendy. Wendy attempts to reassure Saskia. Wendy mentions Saskia is now making good choices. Colton hands in his Irene ID to Therese. Therese thanks Colton. Carl hands Therese his Irene ID. Carl asks Therese to write a reference for him. Carl reveals he has an interview in 2 days. Carl offers to tell the residents himself about his departure. Andrew and Wendy run into Max and Holly. Wendy and Holly discuss Sadie's 21st. Andrew mentions Sadie and his biological family. Leo finds a pregnancy test. Leo is thrilled. Leo attempts to reassure Krista. Byron reveals his decision about the gift he bought Sadie. Jane reveals her feelings about the breakdown of Sadie and Byron's relationship whilst insulting the share house. Aaron thanks Colton. Colton compliments Rhett. Aaron says goodbye to Colton. Krista updates Therese. Therese attempts to reassure Krista. Krista mentions Leo's current feelings. Krista reveals she doesn't want a baby at the moment. Krista thanks Therese for getting her a drink. Therese mentions Leo. Krista mentions Seb. Therese gives Krista some advice. Therese mentions Hope. Leo returns with a pregnancy test. Krista thanks Leo for doing this. JJ and Nell give Dex some relationship advice. Saskia is looking for Max. Nell and Therese reunite. Therese and Wendy reunite. Remy, Tay and Byron play a game of poker. Byron vents about his most recent conversation with Jade. Sadie invites Byron to her 21st. Leo and Krista find out that Krista isn't pregnant. Leo apologises to Krista. Leo checks in with Krista. Leo hugs Krista. Byron discusses his relationship with Sadie, with Tay. Byron gets in the way of Tay putting away multiple dishes. Carl reveals why he is still at Irene. Remy invites Therese and Susan to Kara's graduation party. Kara attempts to reassure Remy. Carl corrects Susan. Therese and Remy discuss Susan. Saskia mentions Max. Wendy gives Saskia some advice whilst trying to reassure her. Dex updates JJ and Nell. JJ and Nell discuss Saskia. JJ mentions Dex's previous heartbreak. Nell discusses Dex with Saskia. Wendy is currently too busy to talk to Saskia. Susan and Remy discuss Carl. Susan mentions Darcy. Remy mentions Irene. Sadie updates Leo and Krista. Sadie thanks Krista. Krista orders some food. Leo checks in with Krista. Leo and Krista agree to keep trying to have a baby. Wendy helps Saskia make a necklace. Saskia mentions her conversation with Nell, as well as Dex and Queensland. Byron thanks Sadie for inviting him to her 21st, but decides to decline. Sadie apologises to Byron. Byron updates Tay. Tay asks Byron to calm down. Tay gives Byron some advice. Tay gets Byron a drink. Byron convinces Tay to give him some face treatment. Therese speaks to Rhett on the phone. Susan gives Carl a gift as her apology. Carl mentions Darcy. Susan reassures Therese. Nell notices Saskia's new necklace. Nell apologises to Saskia. Nell mentions Dex previously having a crush on her. Saskia mentions Nell and JJ's relationship. Nell confides in Therese. Nell and Therese had a meal with Leo and Krista. Leo and Krista update Therese. Remy mentions Kara's graduation taking place tomorrow. Dex and Saskia compliment each other. Remy introduces herself as Remy to Saskia. JJ agrees to being wrong about Saskia. Tay and Sadie discuss Byron, and Tay and Sadie kiss. We then have a next episode preview, which includes Therese giving Krista some advice, Nicolette suggesting that Jane restart her dating profile, Krista mentions Isla and Jane to Abby, and Byron nearly catches Tay and Sadie together. And that is my recap. No, not recap here. That is my summary of the Neighbours episodes released between the 7th and the 10th of July 2025. And new episodes of Neighbours will be released Monday to Thursday at 7 AM UK time until the finale on the 11th of December 2025. Do I think it's going to be the finale ever Neighbours isn't coming back? Probably not, but we'll just have to wait and see on that. But let me know what you thought of my summary of the Neighbours episodes released between the 7th and 10th of July 2025. If you watched those episodes, my summary, if you didn't, give your thoughts on both of those in the comments below, as well as anything else from the channel, such as any previews or recaps. Put those in the comments below as well. Remember, you can also like, comment and subscribe, and I will see you in a future episode of the podcast. See you then. Goodbye.